The second essay which I have attempted in my UPSC paper, 2019 mains. So the question is, neglect of primary healthcare and education in India are reasons for its backwardness. Now, if we see this statement on the face of it, there are three things which I have focused as soon as I saw this statement. That is primary healthcare, education, backwardness. So I have decided to connect all the points in my essay in such a way that the things will be revolving, whatever I write in my essay, they will be revolving around primary healthcare, education, and how it leads to backwardness. To start with, there are many ways how we can start an essay. Few people start the essay with a story, right? They start narrating a story and they continue that story till the conclusion, connecting all the points regarding this statement. Few people start with a poem or a quotation or anything as such. So I tried to start with a case study which has happened recently a few months back before my essay exam. So that was sad incident happened in Bihar. In Bihar, at that time, a few months back before my UPSC exam, because of acute encephalitis syndrome, many children have died in Bihar, in the state of Bihar, right? This acute encephalitis syndrome is basically a disease which leads to brain death. Some of the symptoms are fever, severe body aches and all, but broadly this disease basically leads to death of the children, brain death of the children. It's related to the brain. This is acute encephalitis syndrome, right? This comes because of a particular virus. Now, because of this syndrome, around 300 and odd children have died in the state of Bihar. Now, if we analyze this issue, if we analyze this issue in Bihar, we'll get to know that the children who have died because of this acute encephalitis syndrome mostly belong to daily wage laborers. This is the first thing. Now, if we go further deeper, all these children who died, they belong to the daily wage laborers, and these daily wage laborers were working in lychee fields. Lychee is a kind of fruit which is mostly grown in the state of Bihar. So these daily wage laborers were mostly working in the lychee fields. Now, if we still go a step further and try to dig it deeper, these daily wage laborers who were working in these lychee fields were feeding their children with lychee a lot, right? Instead of breakfast, lunch and dinner, these daily wage laborers were feeding their children with lychee. Why they have done this? Because they were poor, they were backward, they didn't have the money. As they were working in the lychee fields, they had lychee, so they used to give this lychee to the children. So children used to eat this, right? Because of this, what has happened? They have become malnourished. They did not receive the necessary nutrients they have to receive, because of which they became vulnerable to this acute encephalitis syndrome. And after their children felt sick, as these daily wage laborers, they don't have the awareness, they thought it was a normal disease. Unfortunately, we have lost the children after few days. And in this span of time, proper healthcare was also not there. On the other hand, right? Because of lack of access to proper healthcare, because of lack of timely healthcare, we have lost the children. Now, this was the case study which I have told you briefly. I have written this in a continuous manner about what has happened there actually. And then I tried to connect this to the topic. Now, see the points. First thing, the daily wage laborers, because of lack of education, they don't have the awareness that they should not feed their children with lychee throughout the day. So that was the first thing. Now this we can connect to the lack of education. It's because they didn't had education, they don't have that awareness. They don't have that awareness to feed lychee, and also they don't have the awareness to take them to the primary healthcare center if they are sick. Because of this delay, we have lost them. And also, undernourishment of the children is an issue which we can connect to lack of primary healthcare, right? So in this way, I tried to connect this tragic incident which happened in Bihar to lack of primary health care and education, which actually made these laborers backward and which has led to this tragic incident. So in this way, I tried to support the statement with a recent example. Now from this, I tried to broadly divide my essay into two. First is health and second is education. So I started with health. So before starting, I just started to quote the quotation of Gandhiji where he says, it is not the pieces of gold or silver, but it is the health that is the real wealth. I'll repeat it. It is not the pieces of gold or silver, but it is the health that is the real wealth. So such is the significance of health in an individual's life. So I started this statement and then I've tried to write about primary healthcare, its significances and everything in a paragraph manner. So to start with, after this quotation, I've started to quote the example of Kerala as a success story. Now, in the introduction, I tried to tell one tragic incident which happened in Bihar, where the healthcare facilities are not properly there and education and backwardness is so much. Now, again, I started to quote a success story in Kerala. Like if we see the Kerala state government, I started to explain by saying that that has very much strong, the state is very much strong in terms of healthcare and education, especially primary healthcare and education. Right, the state of Kerala is known for its human development. Local bodies play a very crucial role and they are very much strong in the Kerala, because of which they could successfully contain the Nipah virus outbreak which happened in the state of Kerala. During that time, there was a Nipah virus outbreak in Kerala. But because the state of Kerala had good primary health care, good awareness among the people and strong local bodies, it could effectively stop the Nipah virus from becoming an epidemic, right? So this is a success story which I cited. Now by saying this, I tried to connect the significance of healthcare to outbreak like Nipah virus. And from there I told that health is a state subject. If we see constitutionally, health is a state subject. So center has its responsibility to give guidelines, but it is the states, being a state subject, it is the states that have to take a significant step in terms of improving this healthcare, right? So I wrote 2 paragraphs about this Kerala and then about health being state subject. And then I tried to talk about the inequalities in healthcare in rural and urban areas. Now, if we see the urban areas compared to rural areas, we have very good health infrastructure. But if we see the scenario of rural areas, the doctor to population, that means a number of doctors for 1,000 people in rural areas is very less compared to urban areas. We don't have sufficient doctors. We don't have necessary hospital infrastructure. We don't even have proper primary healthcare centers, right? Such is the grave scenario in the rural areas. So I tried to speak about rural urban divide in terms of healthcare, right? By saying this, I tried to bring some strong data, right? Some data regarding what is the doctor to population ratio and all those stuff. I tried to include in my essay. And by talking about this rural urban divide in healthcare, I quoted Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, Ayushman Bharat scheme, as one significant scheme to reduce this rural urban divide in access to healthcare. Now this Ayushman Bharat scheme very much helps to strengthen health infrastructure in the rural areas. How? This Ayushman Bharat has a component which I wrote that is basically setting up 1.5 lakh comprehensive healthcare centers. That means Ayushman Bharat scheme tries to improve the primary healthcare centers into comprehensive healthcare centers in the rural areas, right? So I tried to talk about the rural urban divide in healthcare. Then I wrote about this government initiative, which is Ayushman Bharat, right? Now, after this, also I wrote about the National Medical Commission Bill, which was passed by the government at that time. So this National Medical Commission Bill also has an important provision which tries to solve this lack of health infrastructure in rural areas. How? That National Medical Commission Bill says that those medical practitioners in the rural areas who are not actually doctors will be given bridge courses so that they can give treatment like doctors, right? So that is one way how you can solve this low doctor to population ratio in the rural areas. So I tried to talk about the significance of National Medical Commission in terms of improving the primary health care and in the healthcare in the rural areas, right? Then again, I tried to bring some facts where primary healthcare is very much poor in India. And also I cited the example of Zika virus outbreak in Rajasthan, right? Now Kerala is a success story, but if we see Rajasthan, in Rajasthan there was Zika virus outbreak, but because of some delay in generating awareness among the people and because of some delay in testing for Zika virus, community transmission took place and it affected the state of Rajasthan. So citing this example, again I brought the point that primary healthcare is very much important, right? And then I talked about Niti Ayog's research paper. There was a paper that was released by Niti Ayog on artificial intelligence, where Niti Ayog clearly says that artificial intelligence can be very much significantly exploited in the terms of healthcare. We can use artificial intelligence in the healthcare. So citing that, I said that digital healthcare, that means telemedicine. What is telemedicine? Providing the health services through digital ways. That is also one way how we can improve the health infrastructure of India, right? I tried to bring this dimension, the Niti Ayog's paper on artificial intelligence, right? So in this way, in various dimensions, I tried to bring out the significance of primary healthcare and some stories where because primary healthcare was not proper, it led to some tragedies, and also one success story of Kerala where primary healthcare played a crucial role in stopping a virus outbreak. So in this way, I tried to tackle this healthcare dimension, healthcare topic in various dimensions. And then I have drawn a diagram that was a radial diagram. I drew a circle saying comprehensive healthcare, and then I tried to connect it through to 5 to 6 points. Those are, I have already discussed it in the previous class: promotive healthcare, preventive healthcare, palliative healthcare, diagnostic healthcare, curative healthcare, and inclusive healthcare. Now, what are these terms? Promotive healthcare, that means not waiting till the disease, promoting best health practices before itself, right? So this is one dimension which I spoke about. Then preventive healthcare. Preventive healthcare means rather than waiting till the disease comes, taking necessary precautions and also preventing communicable diseases. So this is one type of healthcare which we need. The third thing is palliative healthcare. There are some continuous diseases, right? There are some diseases which need continuous treatment. So those diseases has to be tackled in a comprehensive way. That is palliative healthcare. And the fourth thing is diagnostic healthcare. Diagnostic healthcare means the healthcare should be in such a way that we can identify the diseases before itself, or we can identify the diseases as early as possible, right? This is diagnostic healthcare. And curative healthcare. Curative healthcare, as we know, the healthcare should be strong enough that it is able to cure the illness and sickness of the people. This is curative healthcare. And inclusive healthcare, that means it should be affordable and accessible to all the sections of the society. So these are the different dimensions which I connected to comprehensive primary healthcare. right? So apart from this, other two dimensions which you can connect to this healthcare is immunization or nutrition of the children. Primary health cares also play a very crucial role in meeting the nutritional needs of the children, right? And also women empowerment. There are a lot of women who suffer from anemia, and also maternal mortality rate is also a serious issue in India. Maternal mortality rate, that means mothers dying as soon as they give birth to children. So this is neonatal mortality rate and maternal mortality rate. These rates also you can cite and say that only when we have good primary health care we can prevent all these things, right? These are the different dimensions. And then I came to the topic education. So in education, I started with a quotation saying that, which Nelson Mandela has said, it is education is most powerful weapon to change the world. Education is the most powerful weapon to change the world, right? With this quotation, I started to write the essay. And from there, I cited a data, a strong data. Data and quotations are very much important in an essay. It is like how much data and how many quotations you write, it adds that much color, right? So one strong data which I cited for this education topic is the ASER report, ASER, ASER report of NGO Pratham. There is an NGO called Pratham. Every year it releases a report on school education. Even this year it has released. You can go and search in the Google, you will get the report, interesting findings. Last year also it had released a report. It's called ASER, Annual School Education Report by NGO Pratham, right? So this report tries to bring some important findings of primary education or the school education. So this report last year said that children who are in the 5th standard are not able to read 2nd standard textbooks properly. Children who are in 5th standard are not able to read 2nd standard textbooks properly in government schools. So this brings the serious issue of poor learning outcomes of the government schools. That means gross enrollment ratio is increasing. We are able to send more and more children to the government schools. Enrollment is increasing, but what about the learning outcomes? When the learning outcomes are not good, when finally at the end of the day, after passing a class, if the child is not able to recollect or not able to read what he is learning in the previous class, then that is of no use, right? So this point I tried to focus by citing this ASER report of NGO Pratham. And then I tried to link this education to backwardness. How is this education plays a role in bringing India out of backwardness? Here I chose 2 to 3 themes. The first theme is women empowerment. Only by education we can bring people out of this patriarchal mindset. Only then we can create this gender sensitization which we are trying. Only with education we can bring empowerment in the women, right? So this is one dimension to which I have connected. The second dimension is education to bring awareness in the people to reduce this caste system. Even to tackle this caste system, we need some open-mindedness in the people. If we see on one side, we see mob lynchings, right? We see honor killings, right? All these things take place because all the atrocities on the weaker sections take place because of lack of awareness. Now, through education, we can reduce this casteism, the caste-based feeling up to a major extent. We can introduce people to modernity, right? So this is the second dimension. Now this women empowerment and reduction of caste system, these two things definitely will bring India out of backwardness, right? So these are the two themes which I have tried to connect. In the similar way, then I tried to say that education is a concurrent list subject. Now one paragraph I tried to write about education is a concurrent list subject. That means both state and the center have powers to make laws and legislations on the education. So saying that, I tried to bring out some schemes that are implemented by our government of India in terms of school education. One important scheme which we can cite is Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. What is this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan does? It basically tries to see education as a continuum, as a continuous thing rather than a discrete thing. Right from the primary school till the 12th standard, it sees education as a continuum. This is one unique aspect in Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan. And also I talked about Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. This is also a campaign that is being run by government to promote education in girls so that women empowerment takes place. In this way, I tried to write 3 to 4 important flagship schemes that the government is implementing in terms of school education or primary education, right? So in this way, I tried to tackle education and health with some data, with some quotations, and with some government initiatives and some success stories in healthcare. Now, finally, I have to conclude this. So to conclude this, I spoke about Human Development Index. In the pre-conclusion, I spoke about Human Development Index. Human Development Index, the ranking of India is 130. At that time, it was 130. So, it is very less. Now, what are the important components that make up this human development? It is the health and the education. These are the two important things that lead to human development, right? So, in this way, I tried to connect health and education to human development. And from there, I started to talk about the demographic dividend. Demographic dividend, to simply say, is the productive young population in our country. That means all the people who are in the age of 15 to 59 years, that makes up the demographic dividend, because these can contribute to the economy, these people. Now this is called demographic dividend, and India is said to have the largest youngest population in India, young population in India, right? So without providing health and education, proper health and education to this demographic dividend, it will definitely become a demographic disaster. If we provide good health and education, then they will definitely be more productive, they will definitely take up better economic opportunities, and they will definitely contribute to the GDP of the country. But if we don't provide proper health care and education, rather than becoming demographic dividend, I said it will become a demographic disaster, right? So in this way, I tried to connect health and education to demographic dividend. And I also said by providing quality health and education, we can definitely move India towards a $5 trillion economy. And finally, to conclude it, I said all the sections of the society are like different wheels of a vehicle, right? This is a quotation. Diverse sections of the society are like wheels of the vehicle. Only when all the wheels are proper, the vehicle can run effectively, right? The vehicle can run effectively towards nation building. So citing this, I said that only by providing quality healthcare and education, we can achieve sabka saath, sabka vikas, or sabka vishwas, right? So finally, I said that by providing quality healthcare and education, we can achieve or strive India towards sabka saath, sabka vikas, or sabka vishwas, right? This is how I tried to conclude my essay.